In 1990, the third Godfather movie was released, and everyone collectively agreed it was worse than a cavity search. Now, 30 years later, director Francis Ford Coppola returns with The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone, a major re-edit of The Godfather 3 to bring the movie in line with his and co-writer Mario Puzo's original vision. In today's show, I'm going to break down the plot of the original Godfather 3. Then I'll go over all the changes I saw in the new version, and we'll discuss what improvements, if any, they make. I'll also be revealing who I think was the real Godfather, and it's not Michael or Vincent. And finally, I'll give you my concluding thoughts on whether the movie now deserves a place next to two of the greatest crime movies of all time. Okay, so let's quickly break down the plot. It's 1979 and Michael Corleone, now a legitimate businessman, is being honoured by the Catholic Church. Fat Tony owns all of what was the Corleone's criminal enterprises. With a $100 million endowment, Michael establishes a foundation for the poor of Sicily, with his daughter, Mary, as the chairperson.
Ooh, twins. Which one is the evil one?
Anthony, Michael's son, tells him he is giving up his law degree to be an opera singer. He knows Michael had his own brother Fredo killed and doesn't want any involvement in his father's business. Vincent Mancini is the illegitimate child of Sonny Corleone.
I had a lot of girlfriends when I was 15.
8-year-olds?
Especially 8-year-olds.
Not okay!
Vincent works for Fat Tony, but they've had a falling out caused by Vincent's short temper. Michael tries to broker peace, but after Vincent goes the full Mike Tyson on Fat Tony's ear, he has to take him into his employment.
Maybe you should come with me for a few weeks. See what happens.
Okay.
See if you learn.
Later, two goons break into Vincent's flat. Vincent kills one of them. The other confesses to being sent by Fat Tony before Vincent shoots him.
No!
Michael meets with Archbishop Gilday, the Vatican banker. Gilday has lost the Vatican over $700 million by shorting GameStop stonks or something, I don't know. Michael offers him $600 million for the Vatican's controlling interest in a real estate business, Internazionale Immobiliare. The Archbishop agrees, subject to approval by an ailing Pope, who is currently too unwell to ratify the deal.
Hey, where have you been hiding?
The Mafia Commission want in on the Immobiliare deal in order to launder their money. Michael wants it legitimate, so he buys off the commission with money from the sale of his casinos. Fat Tony doesn't get a cut of the action, so he storms out of the meeting. Don Altobello follows, saying he can reason with him. A helicopter attack on the meeting takes out most of the Dons. Michael survives. He realises that Don Altobello and Fat Tony together were behind the hit. Despite being first cousins, Vincent and Mary start diddling.
Not okay!
Getting the go-ahead from Connie, Vincent takes out Fat Tony. The family decamp to Sicily for Anthony's operatic debut. Michael's friend Don Tomasino tells him that Immobiliare chairman Lucchese is in bed with Don Altobello. Together they are blocking the deal with the Vatican. On the advice of the Don, Michael goes to see Cardinal Lamberto, a friendly face in the Vatican and a shoo-in to be the next pope. Michael tells him about the shenanigans around the Immobiliare deal. Lamberto persuades him to make his confession, in which Michael admits to killing his brother. Don Altobello hires an assassin with more disguises than Roger from American Dad. Don Tomasino runs into Roger dressed as a priest.
Io ti riconosco. Tu sei Mosca di Montelepre. Eri un assassino.
The Pope dies and Lamberto is elected the new Pope. Keinzig, the Vatican's accountant, disappears with Michael's money.
Ooh, twins. Which one is the evil one?
In return for giving up his daughter, Michael makes Vincent the new Don of the Corleone family. At the opera, Michael is told that the new Pope has ratified the Immobiliare deal. Vincent sends out assassins to take out the plotters. Roger sneaks into the theatre and kills some of the Corleone's bodyguards.
Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do. We do.
Archbishop Gilday murders the new Pope with poisoned tea. Don Altobello dies from a poisoned cannoli, a gift from his goddaughter Connie. And Gilday dies from lead poisoning. The accountant Keinzig gets smothered. Lucchese gets stabbed in the throat with his own bins. Roger takes a pot shot at Michael, hitting him in the shoulder. Mary gets shot in the chest, killing her. Years later, still in Sicily, Michael dies. The end. The Godfather 3 opening contains several shots of the now abandoned Lake Tahoe house from The Godfather Part 2. In voiceover we hear a letter Michael is writing to his children. We then go into the papal ceremony in the church, intercut with shots from Fredo's murder. In the Coda version, the flashback and ceremony scenes are cut, and the meeting between Michael and Archbishop Gilday is moved up to the beginning. It seems logical to put the Immobiliare deal up front, since the plot of the movie revolves around getting it ratified. It also makes it clear that Michael has gone legitimate right from Jump Street. The letter-writing scene follows with a couple of lines removed, including a reference to the papal ceremony. The following scenes have been shortened for pacing and have no serious effect on plot or character. At the New York shareholders' meeting, a line is cut from Michael's speech.
I have always believed helping your fellow man is profitable in every sense, personally and bottom line.
At the end of his speech, a shot of Archbishop Gilday is removed. 2 lines of dialogue from board members are cut.
The Hamilton Investors Group cannot support this proposal.
Your Excellency.
When the Archbishop gives his assent to Michael, some of his pauses between lines are shortened.
International Immobiliare will be safe in Mr. Corleone's hands.
While conversely, when Keinzig announces the board's approval, he's given more space between his sentences.
Welcoming Mr. Michael Corleone.
Shots have been rearranged to cover the jump cuts. The limousine ride where Michael asks Don Altobello to set up a meeting with the Commission has 2 lines removed.
As your family's oldest friend, I'm always chosen to bring you messages.
Tell me, Don Altobello.
The hit on the Commission ends earlier. The shot of Vincent using a meat shield is shorter. And Don Cuerno's fist shaking is cut. When Vincent meets Don Lucchese, the scene fades out, cutting a line from Don Altobello.
Blessed is the peacemaker, for he can be called a child of God.
What was that? I think it was blessed are the cheesemakers.
Shots of the car arriving to the meeting with Cardinal Lamberto are gone, along with Don Tomasino being helped into his wheelchair. The coda fades in at the beginning of the meeting.
I trusted him. I was sure. His honesty was beyond a doubt.
The scene where Don Altobello hires Roger to kill Michael ends earlier.
Solo una spina.
è una cosa pericolosa. Un uomo famoso.
8 hours later.
Alla salute. Alla morte ai due.
At Don Tomasino's viewing, Michael's monologue has been heavily edited in the Coda version.
Goodbye, my old friend. You could have lived a little longer. I could be...
8 hours later.
Why do I condemn myself so?
After Vincent walks in, one of Michael's lines is cut.
You look pale. Bad news. Tell me right away.
At the end of the opera, a shot of Vincent congratulating Anthony is gone.
I like this opera. Yeah, I figured you would. Bravo. Thank you. Say hello.
A few additions have been made. There is an 80-yard line in the scene where Michael has his diabetic stroke.
It's his diabetes.
Everybody got that?
There is no need for this change. It's obviously a line for the audience. The explanation for his illness is given in literally the next scene by B.J. Harrison. B.J.
Michael Corleone suffered a diabetic stroke. I thought you ought to know that before you read it in the papers.
I have diabetes. It causes me to be short with my family. 2 weeks ago, I ran out of vanilla ice cream and struck my wife. And then I find out my wife's been dead for 6 years. Who the hell did I hit?
This message brought to you by the National Diabetes Association.
At the hotel party, Michael isn't seen until the end of Connie and Abandando's song. That shot has been moved up to during the song. There are also 2 additional reaction shots to Fat Tony's interruption. There's an alternative take used for Don Lucchese's murder. This is how the original plays out. Now you're going to have to watch closely because it's easy to miss, but there is a subtle difference in the Coda version. There are some changes which I feel have an effect on the characters. In the scene where Fat Tony storms out of the meeting with the Commission, Don Altobello's pleading with Michael is cut short.
Please, let's agree, huh? He doesn't know what he's... No, come on.
The edit is covered by moving Vincent's reaction shot. In the original version, the shot comes when Altobello intervenes on Fat Tony's behalf. Vincent looks from Fat Tony to Altobello, tying the 2 plotters together. This foreshadows the moment later on when the helicopter descends on the meeting. Because he's already suspicious, he's the first to realise it's a hit. With the change, the shot is now a look from Altobello to Michael, as though he's puzzled and looking to Michael for answers. When Michael is in the hospital recovering from his diabetic stroke, there is an entire scene cut when Don Altobello comes to visit. The scene tees up the move to Sicily.
Let's see more of each other.
Michael, in Sicily.
In Sicily. In Sicilia.
Without it, the transition is quite abrupt, but I feel it was worth removing because there is a moment when Altobello appears intimidated. Cutting the scene entirely strengthens his position in the power dynamic. Okay, we need to talk about Mary.
Oh, God, no, please!
Mary has an 80-yard line at the hotel party.
Daddy, I'm so nervous.
I think it's there to make the advice Abandando gives her beforehand sound more like it's been solicited and less patronising.
Don't forget to smile.
When the shareholders' meeting is disrupted, a shot of Mary looking at Vincent is replaced with a shorter wide shot of the delegates. This strengthens Mary's character somewhat, as she's no longer looking for reassurance. The conversation that follows starts later in the Coda version.
Tony says that I'm a front for the Foundation. That you're using me just to pull the strings. To get the money where you want it.
Oh, come on, please.
To shine up your public image.
Mary, this is real, this foundation. It's real.
This is an improvement. It gives Mary more agency because she's no longer repeating what Tony told her. The power dynamics of the scene have shifted because Michael begins the scene on the defensive from Mary's questioning. This is reinforced by the previous scene at the shareholders' meeting, ending on a shot of her looking thoughtful.
I never let you down.
I trust you.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy yourself.
In the cafe bar, after Vincent has talked to Martin Scorsese's mum, a line of dialogue is dropped.
What was that?
Neighborhood's in trouble.
The line made her sound naive because she would have heard the conversation but not understood it. Later in the same scene, she asks if Michael was responsible for Fredo's death.
Just storage, sweetheart. Okay?
I believe you.
Cutting the line makes her sound less credulous.
I'm glad you're here too.
He's your first cousin.
Then I love him first.
In the Sicily garden scene, when Michael tells her not to see Vincent, a shot of her saying no to her dad is replaced with a silent reaction.
Not in that fashion.
No.
The no is then used to end the scene.
No.
No, Dad.
It makes her more confident, her defiance closer in tone to Anthony's. When Mary looks at the photos of Michael's first wife, Apollonia, a lingering look at her portrait is cut short. The scene foreshadows her fate. By cutting sooner, it makes her appear less cognizant of the danger she's in. At the end of the opera, there are two significant edits. They quicken the pace of the scene, and by cutting one of Mary's lines, she sounds less whingy.
Dad? Why are you doing this to me? You don't have to do this to me, please.
Doing what?
There are three edits that affect Connie. Before we get into it, I need to do some groundwork. For me, the key scene in the movie is the meeting with Cardinal Lamberto. Michael feels faint from low blood sugar, and the Cardinal gives him juice and chocolate. After Michael confesses to his brother's murder, the Cardinal says this:
"Your sins are terrible, and it is just that you suffer. Your life could be redeemed. But I know that you don't believe that. You will not change."
Essentially, he tells Michael what will happen. He will not escape his past, and he will suffer for it. It's apt that when he speaks this truth, he is over Michael's right shoulder. As they enter the courtyard, he's on his right shoulder, and when he gives him sugar, he's again on his right shoulder. In the next scene that Michael is in, he is with Connie. Connie hands him insulin, the opposite of sugar. She brings up Fredo's death, but only to repeat the lie that he drowned on accident. She is on his left shoulder when she does this. The motif is repeated throughout the movie. The first shot they appear in together, she is on his left. When she sides with Vincent against Michael and Fat Tony, she is on his left. And when she defends Vincent for killing Fat Tony's goons. In the family photograph, and at the opera house, she is on his left. The only time she appears on his right, she is either being helpful to him, or Michael isn't doing what she wants. So with that context, let's get into the edits. The scene in the chapel is completely cut. In the scene, Vincent and Neri argue about Fat Tony. They both want him dead, but Neri thinks it's impossible. Connie enters and tells Vincent to go ahead with his plan. In terms of delivering information, the scene is superfluous, because it's discussed later with Michael in the hospital. As a character moment, I think it was a mistake to cut it. Vincent says the order came from Neri and Connie, but Neri was opposed for practical reasons. The order comes from Connie. Neri's response is telling as well. He's been arguing with Vincent until Connie gives the command.
Do it!
What would you need?
The second edit is in the snooker room.
You're the only one left in this family with my father's strength. If anything happens to Michael, I want you to strike back.
I'll have everything ready.
You swear?
I swear to you.
Again, I think this was a mistake. Respect and deference to the Dons is shown by kissing their hand. I think the act of Vincent kissing Connie's hand symbolises that she is the real Don of the family.
Michael.
Yes.
Now they'll fear you.
Maybe they should fear you.
The third edit comes when Vincent asks Michael for the order to assassinate their enemies.
It's done. Because I can't do it anymore.
In my opinion, this is the single biggest improvement to the movie. Vincent no longer infers the order has been given. By dropping the word because, Michael's line is like a plea for help, directed towards Connie. This is followed by Connie telling him that Vincent knows what to do. In other words, what she told him to do. She then takes Michael and physically leads him from the room, telling him not to think about it anymore. We now come to the final change of the movie, the ending. The dances with Apollonia and Kay are removed, and there is an alternative take of Michael sitting alone. He no longer physically dies, but his death is symbolic. I think most people miss the idea, myself included, that the abrupt leap forward in time was meant to suggest that Michael was condemned to live a long life of suffering, just as the Cardinal had told him. A title card at the end now makes this clear. Overall, the edits do improve the movie, in my opinion. However, there still remain problems that an edit can't fix. Regardless of the changes, Mary is still a weak character. I think she actually starts off quite strong, channeling Lauren Bacall when she flirts with Vincent in her opening scene. In this scene, she completely dominates. The high-angle shots of Vincent and the way Mary is framed reinforce this. She's a more forceful character in the Coda, but she only wants Vincent. I don't think there's anything wrong with a female character wanting a man, but what else does Mary want? She doesn't even seem especially interested in the foundation she's chairing, and I still gave negative shits when she died.
Dad?
The movie also feels small in comparison to The Godfathers 1 and 2. Compare the claustrophobia of the hotel party scene to the wide open spaces of Connie and Carlo's wedding from the first film, or the scale of the street festival during Fat Tony's assassination, compared to when Vito stalks Don Fanucci at the festa prior to murdering him. Gordon Willis's lighting is as gorgeous as ever, but the shot composition is boring. Almost every scene is establishing wide shot, medium close-up, reverse medium close-up, end on a wide, rinse and repeat. Compare the famous end shot from the first movie, when Neri closes the door on Annie Hall, symbolically closing the door on Michael's life in the legitimate world. Compare that with the shot after Vincent becomes the Don. The closing door this time, symbolising the end of his life as the head of the family, but it's a completely unmemorable, unspecial shot. As it is, The Godfather 3 is an aggressively average film. If it wasn't in the Godfather franchise, we probably would have forgotten all about it by now. It could have been a good movie, but it suffers from a hurried production schedule. The script needed several more passes, and 6 months more in pre-production wouldn't have hurt. But even if it had been given the time it needed, I still maintain that it was unnecessary. Michael became a gangster to protect his family out of love, but ultimately kills a member of his own family out of revenge. The Godfather 2 ends with a shot of Michael old and alone, suffering as a result. Ultimately, The Godfather 3 doesn't have enough to add to the Corleone saga to justify its existence. It just repeats the theme of The Godfather 2, but less successfully. So that's a wrap for today's show. You can click on my face to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at 2movies, where I'll be posting short vids and reviews. And I wish you all Cent'anni.